Here's the part no one ever tells you. A woman can forget a man she dated for months, but remember a man she talked to for 3 days. Why? Because memory isn't about time. It's about emotional impact. Most men leave none. But a select few trigger something deeper inside her without even trying, and they all share the same 6 traits. 6 behaviors so powerful they can outlast chemistry, timing, and even breakups. If you've ever felt confused about why a woman lets go so easily, or why she stays attached to a man who seems completely average, you're about to understand the psychology behind it. These are the things women never forget, and most men never learn. She doesn't remember every man she's met. She remembers the ones who left a mark on her nervous system. Women sort men into categories without even realizing it: the forgettable, the temporary, and the unforgettable. And here's the uncomfortable truth most men never learn. Being unforgettable has nothing to do with being the most attractive guy in the room. It's about being the man who creates an emotional imprint, the kind her mind and body don't know how to erase. Women don't store memories the way men do. They don't replay your face or your outfit. They replay how you made them feel in the moment their guard was down, or the moment it went up. Every experience with you gets filtered through 3 psychological mechanisms: the emotional encoding that locks in high-intensity feelings, the safety imprint that tells her whether she can relax around you, and the scarcity recognition that signals you're not like the men she meets every day. That's why 2 men can treat her the same way, say almost the same things, and yet only one stays in her thoughts weeks or months later. It's not about perfection. It's about impact. Women don't remember the man. They remember the shift he created inside them. And the 6 traits you're about to hear aren't tricks, tactics, or lines. They're the psychological foundations that define whether you disappear from her memory or become the man she keeps comparing others to. Let's start with the foundation, the thing every other trait is built on. Number 1. The man who makes her feel safe. And I'm not talking about the movie-style version of safety where you jump in front of danger like some action hero. I'm talking about the type of safety that hits her deeper. Emotional steadiness, consistency, and the kind of presence that tells her nervous system she can finally exhale. Most men don't realize how rare this is for women. They think safety is about being strong or confident or knowing how to handle chaos. But what makes you unforgettable is how you handle her chaos. When she's overwhelmed, spiraling, or stuck in her head, most men do one of 3 things. They dismiss her feelings, they argue with her emotions, or they get reactive and make everything heavier. And that's exactly why these men fade from her memory. Picture this. She's overthinking again. Maybe it's work. Maybe it's something small that somehow feels big. She texts a guy, "I don't know, I just feel off today." One man replies, "You're overthinking. Just chill." Another argues, "Why are you being dramatic again?" Those men disappear from her mind as fast as they came into it. But the man who says, "I hear you, you don't have to figure it out alone," becomes a reference point she will compare others to for years. Because when a woman feels safe around you, her heart opens, her guard drops, and something inside her rewires. Women can't connect emotionally when their nervous system is in defense mode. If you want to be unforgettable, you have to become the place where her defenses soften instead of tighten. And safety isn't about agreeing with everything she says. It's about holding emotional ground without being shaken. It's keeping your tone steady when she's stressed. It's listening without interrupting. It's validating the feeling, even if you don't validate the conclusion. It's anchoring her back into calm simply by not matching her panic. When a woman can breathe around you, she remembers you. Not because you fixed her problems, but because you regulated the emotional space between you. That's the kind of safety most men never give, and the kind she never forgets. Safety opens the door, but it's only the beginning. There's another trait that makes you unforgettable on a whole different level. Number 2, the man who truly listens. And I don't mean the polite, head-nodding, half-distracted type of listening most men think is enough. I'm talking about the kind of presence that makes her feel like her voice lands somewhere, the kind that tells her she isn't talking into empty space. Most men fail at listening for one simple reason. They're not actually listening. They're waiting. Waiting for their turn to speak. Waiting to fix the problem. Waiting for the conversation to end. Men slip into fix-it mode instantly because that's how they process stress, by solving. But women process through expression. And when a man rushes to solve, she doesn't feel supported. She feels unseen. This is why women test presence. They want to know if your mind stays with them or wanders the second things get emotional. They notice when your eyes drift. They notice when your tone shifts. They notice when you give surface-level responses that prove you heard the words but missed the meaning. Now imagine a different kind of moment. She starts opening up about something subtle. Maybe she's overwhelmed. Maybe she's disappointed. Maybe she's carrying pressure no one else sees. Most men cut her off with, "It's not a big deal," or "Here's what you should do." But the man she never forgets does something else. He mirrors softly. "So you felt overlooked today?" He catches the emotional keyword she didn't even repeat. He pauses for a beat before answering, giving her space instead of rushing to fill the silence. And then he says the sentence that works like emotional oxygen. That makes sense. Because in that moment, she doesn't feel dramatic. She feels understood. Listening isn't passive. It's presence. It's tuning into the emotion underneath her words. It's not interrupting her process. It's letting her finish her thought without jumping ahead of it. It's remembering the details she didn't think you'd catch. A 5-minute conversation can stay with her for years if she felt genuinely heard. Women fall for the man who understands the part of her she hides from everyone else. But listening alone isn't enough to make you unforgettable. It's what you protect, not just what you hear, that leaves the deepest imprint. Number 3, the man who protects her peace. For women, peace isn't just comfort. It's a luxury. It's rare, expensive, and easily disrupted. And the truth is, most men don't realize how quickly they drain it. They bring jealousy games, emotional reactivity, impulsive decisions, and undisciplined behavior into her life, then wonder why she pulls away. Women never forget the man who made their life calmer, lighter, and clearer than it was before he showed up. What leaves an imprint isn't what you give her. It's the emotional environment you create around her. Some men walk into a woman's world and turn everything into noise. Arguments, insecurity spikes, unnecessary tension. But the unforgettable man does the opposite. His presence lowers the emotional temperature. He doesn't raise his voice just because she raised hers. He doesn't match her anxiety with more anxiety. He doesn't turn a small misunderstanding into a battle of egos. He brings steadiness where most men bring storms. Picture this. She's had a long day. Work drained her, her phone keeps buzzing, everything feels heavy. 2 men could take her out on the same date. One walks in with frantic energy, venting about his problems, complaining about the smallest inconvenience, moving fast, talking loud, filling the space with static. She'll tolerate him, but she won't remember him. The other man leans back, speaks slowly, listens fully, makes decisions confidently, and doesn't rush the moment. He doesn't crowd her mind. He clears it. And that quiet leadership, that calm presence, makes her nervous system soften in ways she can't explain. That's the man who becomes memorable. Protecting her peace doesn't mean avoiding conflict or becoming a yes man. It means staying disciplined in your reactions. It means holding your boundaries without hostility. It means being the emotional anchor instead of the emotional amplifier. When she's with a man who refuses to feed drama, she feels something that's almost addictive. Relief. Peace is unforgettable because chaos is everywhere. And the moment she feels calm in your presence, she associates you with something she deeply craves but rarely experiences. Peace builds respect, respect builds attraction, and attraction sets the stage for something even more powerful. Number 4. The man who challenges her. A woman might enjoy being admired, praised, or spoiled, but she never remembers the man who bends himself out of shape just to keep her happy. She remembers the man who stands tall, the man who holds standards, the man who isn't afraid to draw a line with calm, grounded certainty. Because deep down, women don't respect what they can control. They respect what they can grow from. Most men think being agreeable earns affection. In reality, it earns forgettability. When a woman senses that a man will tolerate anything just to keep her around, something inside her switches off. Not because she's cruel, but because there's no tension, no polarity, no leadership. But the man who challenges her in the right way, that man becomes unforgettable because he forces her to elevate. Imagine she throws a small test your way, a harmless jab, a dramatic tone, or a subtle push to see where your boundaries are. Most men react instantly. They get defensive, raise their voice, over-explain, or worse, fold completely just to smooth things over. But the unforgettable man doesn't take the bait. He doesn't match the drama or reward it. He stays grounded, looks her in the eyes, and says with steady clarity, "I'm not going there." It's not confrontational, it's leadership. Challenge isn't control, it's accountability. It's calling out disrespect without hostility. It's refusing to entertain emotional games. It's saying no when it matters, even if she doesn't like it in the moment. And that no, that rare combination of firmness and calm, triggers something women don't forget: respect. Because here's the truth she'll never admit out loud. She remembers the men who made her a better woman, the ones who didn't let her slip into her worst habits, the ones who didn't play small to avoid conflict, the ones who kept their values intact even when it would have been easier to give in. A woman forgets the men she can walk over, but she remembers the man who meets her fire with clarity instead of chaos. If she respects you, she remembers you. And challenge creates tension, the kind that awakens attraction. But attraction becomes unforgettable only when it's fueled by something deeper. Number 5, the man who makes her feel desired. And here's where most men go wrong. They either overdo it or starve her of it entirely. One floods her with compliments until every word feels empty. The other holds back so much that she feels invisible. But the man she never forgets is the one who strikes the rare balance. He wants her, clearly and confidently, without ever needing her. Desire isn't about chasing. It's not about showering her with attention or giving her constant validation. It's about the kind of masculine presence that makes her feel chosen without feeling smothered. It's the difference between a man who is impressed by every woman and a man who is selective, intentional. Women remember the man whose attention feels earned. Picture this. You're sitting across from her. She's talking, laughing, doing what she always does. But this time, something shifts. You hold eye contact for just one extra second. Not creepy, not desperate, controlled. You listen with a slight smirk because you're not just hearing her words, you're taking her in. And she feels it. That subtle intensity hits her deeper than 1,000 generic compliments ever could. Desire is communicated in micro moments, the slow lean in, the steady voice, the confident stillness, the way you create tension without rushing to break it. Most men touch too soon or avoid touch completely. The unforgettable man knows when the moment is right. A hand on her lower back as you guide her through a crowd, a gentle hold of her waist when she steps closer, a touch that says, "I want you," not please want me. This is sexual polarity, the invisible voltage between a grounded, composed man and a feminine woman who feels desired in his presence. And here's the truth she'll never say out loud. Women forget compliments, but they never forget being wanted by a man who could walk away at any moment and still chooses them. That combination, restraint mixed with genuine desire, is rare. It makes her feel feminine, seen, and alive. It activates something in her that lingers long after the moment ends. And all of this sets the stage for the deepest imprint of all, the one that hits her only when she realizes what she's lost. Number 6, the man who walks away with dignity. If there's one type of man a woman remembers long after the story ends, it's the one who didn't lose himself trying to keep her. Most men crumble the moment they feel her slipping away. They chase, they beg, they over-explain, they try to negotiate their worth. All that does is confirm exactly what she already felt. She had more power than the connection itself. And that never leaves an imprint. But the man who walks away calmly? That man hits a different part of her psychology, the part that doesn't process loss until it's too late. When a woman pulls back or stops valuing the connection, the unforgettable man doesn't react with anger or desperation. He doesn't try to prove himself. He doesn't send long messages explaining how loyal, patient, or loving he is. He doesn't spark drama or guilt trip her into staying. He sees the shift, accepts the truth, and chooses himself with quiet confidence. No noise, no theatrics, no emotional scramble. And that moment, the moment he steps back with dignity, is the moment she realizes something she never expected. He didn't need her to feel valuable. Imagine this. She takes longer to reply. Her effort drops. She becomes colder. Most men would panic and try to win her back. But he doesn't. He stays calm, grounded, and steady. He withdraws the same way he lived, with intention. He stops giving where there is no reciprocity. He doesn't announce he's walking away. He just does. And the silence that follows is louder than anything he could have said. Days or weeks later, when chaos comes back into her life, when she feels the absence of the peace he brought, when other men react exactly like she expected, that's when it hits her. He was the rare one. He was the man who didn't chase, the man who didn't collapse, the man who had options because he had standards. A woman may forget the men who begged. She may forget the men who tried too hard. But she will never forget the man who walked away without resentment because he knew his worth. A man becomes unforgettable the moment he proves he doesn't need her to validate his value. And that is the final imprint, the one that lingers long after the story ends. When you strip everything back, the appearance, the status, the temporary excitement, what stays in a woman's memory is the imprint you leave on her emotional world. Unforgettable men aren't the loudest, the richest, or the most charming. They're the men who create a shift inside her that she can't shake off, no matter how much time passes. The man who made her feel safe, the man who listened, the man who protected her peace, the man who challenged her, the man who made her feel desired, and the man who walked away with dignity when the connection stopped being mutual. 6 traits, but one truth. Unforgettable isn't something you chase, it's something you become. Because when a man is grounded, intentional, and clear about his value, he doesn't have to perform for attention. He doesn't have to fight for relevance. His presence speaks for him. And that presence leaves a psychological fingerprint that sits in the back of her mind long after the moment ends. Not because he tried to impress her, but because he carried himself in a way she didn't want to forget. If any part of this resonated with you, make sure you hit subscribe, drop a like, and share this with another man who's ready to step into a stronger version of himself. And tell me in the comments which of these 6 traits you personally want to improve, or which one you've already mastered. This channel exists to help you build the psychological strength, emotional discipline, and masculine clarity women recognize instantly. You don't become unforgettable by accident. You build it. One decision, one boundary, one standard at a time. And when you do, trust me, she'll remember you long after you stop thinking about her.